Well, hey, everybody. How's it going? I am attorney Michael Ehline. I just got done doing a show over on the Delete Laws channel, having a good time over there. And I am now back on my channel. Just trying to get everything all figured out here. I only had like 2 minutes to prepare for the show. So I've got all these videos that I'm trying to queue up and stuff. I don't have BZ with me anymore. He went ahead and disappeared on me. But give me a bunch of ones for BZ Watchdog and for all of his help trying to come out and stand tall for all the auditors. And yeah, free chili. Give me a bunch of free chilies. Thanks again, Chevy, for showing up. Kurt Bronson, Dr. Donna Walter, thank you again for showing up. Let's Out TVO, of course. Thanks for helping moderate. Kevin Brionowski, thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. And then, of course, Jody Shiloh. As always, I got my cool groupies, my regular crew here. We never get too big like we do on Chili, but we do have some serious patriots who love their country joining us. And I have some pretty cool doggone videos and stuff. And I wanted to share with you some of the cool stuff that I found as I was screwing around on stuff. And I'm just trying to get it all organized for you so we have something good. So the first video that I'm going to show you is my kickoff, the kickoff video, which is, hey, I'm attorney Michael Ehline, and I'm licensed in California and Texas, and I help people with personal injury claims, but I also do civil rights, and I sue bad cops. But I'm primarily right now a motorcycle accident attorney, and I do a lot of wrongful death cases. I don't do medical malpractice anymore. But I am going to talk about whether or not you could sue Tony Fauci for wrongful death. But first, let's get into it. To another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. All right. So a lot of people were lied to and said they were told safe and effective, safe and effective. We know that the big pharma industry tried to hide the data about the side effects of these mRNA shots for either 50 or 75 years. And we know that a lot of the scientists who work at NIH receive royalty money from the pharmaceutical industry, which they do not have to disclose. And Fauci on live television said, I don't have to tell you that, when he was asked by Rand Paul, how much royalty money did you get? We know that doctors receive a payoff every time they inject people. So there's a financial incentive for them to give you these shots. We know that now. A lot of people didn't know that. In fact, if you discussed any of these things last year, you would have had all of your social media accounts banned. And you would have, even if you had millions of followers, you would have just been thrown off in what I believe is a violation of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. But this video today is going to be sort of more of a neutral sort of approach. And we're just going to answer the question, can I sue Tony Fauci for wrongful death, for perjuring himself in front of Congress, selling something to the American people, which we now know was toxic and deadly to many. And we now know that that's an absolute fact, that it wasn't ever safe and effective, according to many experts. And we know that the other experts who spoke out against it were silenced, and they were targeted by the news media as whack jobs or conspiracy theorists. As your family members were dropping dead around you, you weren't allowed to attend their funerals. You weren't allowed to go outside. You lost your business. You were forced to take government loans and become a slave to the state even further because the government shut down the economy. You guys remember all this? Nothing happened to any of those guys. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, well, is there any justice? Well, let's find out. Let's see what Jim Jordan has to say about what happened and his opinion about what went down here. Now, I know that the video is not too big. It's because I'm doing it in vertical today, but take a look at it, and hopefully you'll get the gist of what's going on here.
Prior to that call would have been on the call.
Well, the call was arranged by Jeremy Farrar. You should ask him.
Okay. Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
I'm sorry. What was?
Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
Yes, of course. It was a sub-award to the Wuhan Institute.
And who approved that award?
Excuse me?
And who approved that award? What agency approved that award?
National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
Your agency approved that, right?
Yes, it did. After.
Did that have anything to do with this downplaying of the lab leak theory?
No.
Nothing to do with it.
Do you
Nothing.
believe that?
What
Do you believe that?
prior to that call would have been on the call?
Well, the call was arranged by Jeremy Farrar. You should ask him.
Okay. Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
I'm sorry. What was?
Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
Yes, of course. It was a sub-award to the Wuhan Institute.
And who approved that award?
Excuse me?
And who approved that award? What agency approved that award?
National Institute of Allergy and Infectious.
Anyway, so you can see, so he told us for, I don't know, over 2 years that, oh, there was nothing going on. There was no U.S. money going into this Wuhan lab. And now we know that there was a partnership between the NIH and the Wuhan lab. So we know it now. And most serious physicians who are not being paid off by pharma or the government all believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that that virus and all that stuff came from China. So you guys know, we had money going in to fund what they call gain of function research, according to many, and this was the end result. And look, I don't think this video is going to get a lot of likes because we know that the WHO is in partnership with Google. And if you do a search right now on Google about did Fauci lie, all you're going to see is stuff about, oh, Fauci gave it to the Republicans. Fauci showed them. He really taught them. If you type a search like that on Google, if you do the same search on Twitter, all you're going to find out, all you're going to see is all the lies that this guy said under oath. So I just want you guys to understand, like, what a joke. I mean, what an absolute joke. So let's go ahead and we're really quick. We're going to, unfortunately, I'm not able to play everything that I wanted to play because I got this stupid thing going on here. Everybody wants to charge now to be able to play their videos, which is ridiculous. But we'll just go ahead and we'll do the next video now so you can kind of see what's going on.
You go to the current U.S. government documents, you find that there are 64 registered toxins and pathogens that are currently in development, just like SARS coronavirus.
They're currently creating 64 more now, similar sort of viruses.
Well, not similar. They all do all kinds of crazy nonsense. I mean, toxins that are neurotoxins.
Are these the biolabs that Fauci had to move out of America?
That's a lovely story, but he didn't move them out of America. He actually made the illusion of moving them out of America. But for example, this whole question, Peter Daszak, EcoHealth Alliance, did he really move that $3.7 million grant to Wuhan Institute of Virology? And the answer is no, because in October of 2014, 3 days after the gain of function moratorium was put in place by the federal government, by the Obama administration, a letter was sent to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, which specifically stated that Ralph Barrick's gain of function research on coronavirus was not only subject to the gain of function moratorium, but at the last paragraph on that page, it says, but since your project is already funded, you can keep going.
So the bottom line is we now have absolute direct evidence that Fauci was funding the Wuhan lab and that he lied under oath. There's direct evidence of that. Now, whether or not you want to believe it or you want to believe CNN and Google, that's up to you. But if as a lawyer and somebody who's capable of looking at evidence and capable of reason and deduction, I've read all these reports. I've seen it with my own eyes. It absolutely is true, in my opinion. Now, Teflon Don says, yeah, buddy, Merry Christmas. Just sub. Hey, thanks, Teflon Don. So Teflon Don threw me a $2 super chat, and I think that's super cool. Look, any kind of recognition is always good. I love recognition. You know, being a jarhead and having a jarhead dad, you know, recognition is what it's all about. You got to earn that badge, got to earn that ribbon. Now, let's get into it. Amazon says this is just another classic example of the past catching up with that person. And I think so too. I think that the government has become so corrupt that people just don't trust them anymore. And they see how the CIA helped create Google. And now we know that they have this partnership with the WHO, and the WHO is run by a guy who is a member, apparently either a former or current member of an Islamic terrorist organization. And we know all the people behind these shots also support population control. I mean, as a lawyer, that gives me pause for thought. Like, these people think that there's billions too many people on the planet, and they're the same people who want to inject you with something that could potentially change your DNA code and give you turbo cancers. It's ridiculous, according to many. Now, not that I would ever say or anything like that, because I wouldn't want to get banned, right? So all I can do is simply tell you these things based upon opinions and news stories and what I've heard, because if I make an affirmative statement that this really happened, well, I would be accused of disinformation, right? Even though there's direct evidence that it's not disinformation. Think about that. Now, so Derek says, I had to take it. Well, guess what, Derek? You didn't have to take it. And some people like me relocated their entire families to a state that allows the parents to decide whether or not their kids can take these things. Because in California, as you know, Gavin Newsom had billions of surplus shots. So what did he do? He mandated it for all those school kids to take it. And so we'll talk about whether or not it was ever safe and effective in a second, but let's just kind of get into it a little bit more. I love this stuff. Yeah, they all told us about it in the movie 12 Monkeys. Thanks, Ralph Riley. And he's right. They sure did. So let's get into it. Let's listen to a little bit more about what this gent has to say.
See, the public media has said, oh, we moved it offshore. We put it over in Wuhan. No, we didn't. We actually created the illusion of it. And while $3.7 million of research dollars went to Wuhan in 2014,
how much was spent in America?
$14 million on a continuously rolling schedule went to UNC Chapel Hill during the gain of function moratorium. You know, not a single person in the primary or alternative media has ever reported on this fact. Senator Rand Paul, who famously had Anthony Fauci in the Senate and had him opposite him in the Senate, had a copy of this letter in his possession, and at no point in any of the interactions he had with Anthony.
And he was accused, by the way, and he was accused by CNN and the left-wing communist news media of lying, of making stuff up, of disinformation, misinformation. Even if you retweeted one of Rand Paul's posts, Zuck would have tried to ban your account. So just keep that in mind, guys. These guys are all buddies. They're all billionaire friends. A lot of these guys hung out on Epstein Island. Rather than try and arrest these people and jail them, what did they try to do? They try to normalize pedophilia and drag queen story hour. That's what they're doing, guys. They're trying to normalize perverted conduct rather than arresting all of their political campaign fundraisers and donors. Keep on watching and learn.
Anthony Fauci. When Anthony Fauci said we never funded gain of function research, that letter is a public document. It was in his hands at the time of his questioning of Anthony Fauci, and to this day, not a single public servant, not a single member of Congress, not a single lawyer, not a single litigant, not anyone anywhere, and nobody in the mainstream, and no one even in alternative media has been willing to put that letter in the public, which I'm doing on my speaking tour.
Oh, no, I tried to, and my account was banned. I tried to post it on Instagram, and I lost my Instagram account within about 20 minutes. So anyways, we'll just keep on playing this bad chicken for you. It's disgusting, right? Give me a bunch of ones if you're disgusted by what these people did. They destroyed my business and many other businesses, and we lost at least one family member.
Of Europe, which is to make sure that apparently, since people can't find it and read it, despite the fact that it is a public document, I'm now making more public by showing that, in fact, they said that project was gain of function. The project that they reference is Ralph Barrick's project, and let me just see if this lands for you, which grew out of his 2005 presentation at the U.S. DARPA and MITRE conference that was entitled Biohacking, Synthetic Coronaviruses as a Biological Weapons Enabling Technology. Now, if you heard that, let's just say from anybody, somebody on BBC or Fox News or anything else, if you heard that the guy who brought you SARS-CoV-2 was paid by a grant that was funded off of a project entitled Synthetic Coronaviruses, Biowarfare Enabling Technology.
So the bottom line is that we know now there's overwhelming evidence, and there's public records requests that have finally been responded to that show that the coronavirus program was designed originally as a bioweapon. And somehow or another, whether it was by hook or by crook or by accident, it escaped from a lab in Wuhan that Anthony Fauci and the NIH was definitely directly or indirectly providing money to. He just admitted it. Fauci just said it, right? That they gave money after he said they weren't. So as a lawyer, that gives me pause for thought. You know, I cross-examine people for a living. And I knew that Rand Paul had that letter, and I knew that Fauci, in my opinion, was lying under oath. So we're going to move on to the next video, because I just want to show you how the CIA and all their buddies are so intertwined with what's going on here, because we know that Obama is a big CIA guy. And here we go.
Thanks to the work of the Biden administration, Dr. Fauci, we already have millions of kids around the country who have gotten vaccinated.
Yeah.
Which means that if you're still thinking about it,
yeah, right.
You know, get informed.
Hold on a minute. Millions of kids that have taken something that they don't need. The mortality rate for children was about the same as it is for the flu, but yet they wanted you to inject your kids with this experimental drug that we now know causes myocarditis, thrombosis, and all kinds of side effects that they tried to hide for over 75 years, guys. Think about that. What's up with the transparency? What happened to our country that billionaires that can't even be sued with their big pharmacy companies can do this to us and pay off the politicians that you voted for, and you're going to let them get away with that? Are you freaking kidding me? Really? Okay, let's see what Obama has to say with his sideshow over here.
Talk to somebody you trust, your family doctor, your pediatrician, a school nurse.
Yeah, they all get paid.
Get more information about it.
They all get paid off.
Tell you it's safe, it's effective.
They get paid to say that.
This vaccine is tailored for kids. And
excuse me.
Come on down.
Excuse me. That is a bald-faced lie. This mRNA, by the way, it does not meet the traditional definition of a vaccine. It's mRNA. It's not a vaccine. Okay, just you guys need to get your mind right, as they would say in Cool Hand Luke. You guys need to get your mind right. It is mRNA. A traditional vaccine takes part of the actual virus and puts it into your body and allows your body to develop natural immunity. mRNA does not allow your body to develop natural immunity. What it does is it creates a synthetic version of what it thinks the virus looks like before it mutates into something else. And then it has the capability of doing a lot of alterations to your body. And that's why these people are getting these massive blood clots and strokes, myocarditis, pericarditis, thrombosis. And any of you people who still think that this was safe and effective, you guys need to institutionalize yourselves. Let's see what Obama has to say. First, he just lied and said that it was made for kids. We know that that's a lie.
Find a spot to get vaccinated. You can get it for free just by going to vaccine.gov. It'll tell you exactly where you can go to get vaccinated, and make sure to do it, as you said, for your kids, your entire family, as well as for the community at large.
All right, so hopefully you all saw
Thanks
that.
to the work of the Biden.
Hopefully you guys all saw that. So you got these guys all out there like investors in pharma. These are, these big pharmaceutical companies made sure they could get into power. We know that they were under big attack. So what do? They sponsor the Grammys. You got pharma suck, and all Google does is serve up why Trump sucks, why the Republicans are bad, why vaccines are so safe. So you see, they've taken the algorithm and twisted it against the American people. So that's why a lot of people are turning to Bing, which is a Bill Gates creation. And the vast majority of people who want real news are going to Twitter. Twitter has become the new Google search engine for people who don't believe anything that the left-wing commie CEOs of Google have to say. And so the problem is now we have a completely divided country, one that believes anything the government says, whatever the administrative state says, as long as they're sending you a check or some kind of subsidy payment, you'll go along with it. Just like all the illegals that are coming across, right? I wonder if they're going to vote Republican. Come on, guys, give me a break. And we just saw that Biden's going to let 350,000 of them have amnesty so they can vote in the next election, probably even more. So we can see this is the process of the dumbing down of America. The people pushing these drugs don't have any respect for you. Now, really quick, I just want to play this bad chicken for you because I want you to understand what wrongful death is. So, can I sue Fauci for wrongful death? Well, let's understand what it is really quick first. Hello, I am California and Texas attorney Michael Ehline. I'll teach you how to become a lawyer without law school.
What is wrongful death?
A wrongful death usually involves a situation where one of your loved ones or your family members, or under California law, a domestic partner, is killed by the negligence or wrongdoing of another. As a result, the family member or domestic partner can sue the wrongdoer in order to recover for the loss of care, love, support, and affection that the decedent had once provided for them.
So you get the idea, right? So a wrongful death is basically an unlawful killing, like a negligent killing or even an intentional killing of one person by another. And it's going to be one of your close family members. And in this case, a lot of people are saying, well, why can't I sue Fauci for wrongful death since him and all of his cronies lied about these things being safe and effective, since he lied about Wuhan. Now we know that we were in fact funding that lab and he lied about it. And so can we sue him? Can we sue him for perjury, for lying under oath after being paid with our tax dollars? And I got to be honest with you guys, I don't see much of a shot at it. I think that it would be very, very difficult to sue him, and that's by design. The pharmaceutical industry was able to get Ronald Reagan to basically immunize them for any kind of acts that kill people. Otherwise, they threatened to pull out and take their vaccines with them back in the 80s or whatever. So now you can't even sue pharma. And I would imagine some of that immunity would extend to people like Fauci. Plus, he's going to have his qualified immunity as a federal employee. Plus, the de facto control of the court system and the federal agencies. When you have your political party in power, we know that at least half the American population doesn't trust the FBI or the CIA. We know that the FBI and the CIA has been illegally targeting Americans who support the Second Amendment, who buy Bibles, who shop at Dick's and Cabela's. We know that Congress just released a report a couple of months ago that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the FBI has been illegally spying on Christians and people who support a constitutional form of government. And so most Americans don't believe that there's any chance, any way, shape, or form that Fauci will be held liable for this. In fact, most Americans think that our whole justice system is run by the Democrat Party, and there is no way back. That they basically used popular and pop culture and popular opinion and campus culture mindset to usher in a new age of dumbness. And I'm hearing that from a lot of my clients. And so the bottom line is, yes, there is a way to sue for wrongful death. And typically the way it would happen is if somebody like ran over your kid in a crosswalk, you could sue for wrongful death. But in this case, we have a peddler like the Pied Piper of pharma saying safe and effective, do it, do it, do it. The question's going to be is, did he owe you a duty or not? And if he did owe you a duty, did you have the right to rely on his promises? And so this is a brand new area of law because it's not just about pharmaceutical fraud, which I believe this was a fraudulent thing that happened to us. Ivermectin is an amazing wonder drug, and they use it in El Salvador, where my wife is from. They were giving it out in care packages, and they didn't have a lot of problems. Most of the people now we know that passed away up here had to do with putting people with fluid in their lungs on respirators because the hospitals were able to bill like $10,000 for those respirators. It's about making money. It's a big money-making scheme. But at the end of the day, if you had a family member or a loved one who passed away, you might have a different point of view. And your points of view have been censored and you have been disappeared by your government. In many occasions, you've had your social media accounts banned. and you've been silenced because they're trying to create this false impression of a scientific consensus. They're doing the same thing with global warming, paying off all their cronies, while they're flying back and forth in Lear jets. It's just a big money-making scheme, many people say. So anyways, yeah, hydroxychloroquine. That's right, Mikey B. Hydroxychloroquine and the other one that I just mentioned, I can't even remember right now. I'm so worked up. But yeah, they work. You stack them, you take them with zinc and vitamin D3. Your body is the ultimate machine. Your body can cure itself. It's called natural immunity. And now we know that Fauci made up all the rules about the masking. He made up out of thin air the rules about social distancing. There was zero scientific basis for any of that. He even said on live television that the best form of immunity is natural immunity, until his buddies started working on a vaccine worth billions of dollars. So think about that, guys. And now he's worried about his life being in danger and all that. Oh, poor me. Dude, if somebody murders your family, they should be a little worried. Don't you give me a bunch of ones if you think if someone murdered your family that they should be worried. Now let's take a look here. We get molested before we're born. Oh my God, this whole thing makes me sick. Lemons and grapefruit. Yeah. Now, yeah, that's right. Fauci is the deep state and Ann Zimmerman is untouchable. That's probably true. I don't know about her. But anyways, it was really nice to be able to talk to y'all. If you want me to stay on and talk more, I can, but I basically just laid it out for you. I think that Fauci probably has immunity from being sued. There's probably statute of limitations problems as well. He's going to argue government immunity, and he probably has a get out of jail free card from the CIA. We know that the U.S. military was involved in this whole Wuhan thing somehow or another, and we'll probably never know what happened until we get someone in office who is not part of the deep state. Because right now, the administrative state controls everything. They have CIA and FBI agents going back and forth constantly from pharma, from the CIA, from the FBI to Google, to Instagram, to Facebook. And that's how they're able to form public policy, right? And they do the same thing with retired judges. They always get them jobs at CNN and that kind of stuff. So these are the policymakers, guys. These are the ones who are your rulers. And it's not what our founding fathers wanted. And then, of course, Melissa Lewis says, you are obviously not medically educated. And she says, not everyone has natural immunity. Well, the vast majority, I would say 99.99% of the people on this planet have the ability to develop natural immunity. As a lawyer in personal injury law, I know more medicine than most doctors that I've met. And I can recite verbatim a lot of sections of the physician's desk reference. So it's just hilarious to see that the bootlickers and people who support the administrative state, the first thing they'll do is try to attack the credentials of the person who does their own research, because they want you to rely on the research that the government, the ones being paid off by the pharmaceutical companies, want you to believe. And as a lawyer, I don't trust anything coming from the person who's selling the product saying that it's safe and effective, nor should you. You'd be a fool to trust anything a multi-billion-dollar company that's already been convicted of a felony for lying and forced to pay a $28 billion criminal felony fine. And you're going to listen to them? You might as well just go ahead and block me, because you're not an intelligent person based upon intelligence. Now, Amazon, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I will be in touch soon. And I'm going to go ahead and close out this bad chicken because I don't really have anything else to say. So Semper Fi, do or die. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.